Neopets the Darkest Faerie. What a great game. Except for these. These suck. I hate hurting these. But other than that, great game. Oh, let's go out and what are those? Where did these come from? Well, I've made a tool for modding this game. Using this tool, you can edit text, materials, models, and collision. With this, you can modify areas and even create new ones. For example, yeah, that's right, Minecraft. Now, of course, this wasn't as simple as just plonking the 3D model file into the game. Some effort was required to import the textures and get the collision to work. But it is doable. Now, let's line this up just right. There, that's my thumbnail. I definitely did not put that clown there to trick people who subscribed for SS13 content into watching a video that has nothing to do with SS13. By the way, if my ruse worked, please tell me about it. If you hate me for doing this, also please make sure to tell me about it. Anyways, let's have a look at the editor and see what we can do with it. And here is the editor. To get started, you just click open, and then you need a disk image of the game. But once you open that, you should see a listing of all the files to the left. You can, of course, open one of them and start editing. When you're done, you can simply hit save. You want to be careful though, not to overwrite the file that you just opened, because if you do that, it won't work. If you open one of the areas, you'll be presented with the contents of the file. The easiest thing to do is to modify the text. So I just click the pencil icon here, and I just modify it. Now let's look at the materials. There is a selection of 4 different images. These correspond to these 4 images over here. So image 0 is the first image. If you open it up, you'll notice that it looks like a bunch of corrupted data. That's because it's not being interpreted correctly. On the left is a list of locations, along with their types. It has 4-bit images, which each have 16 colors, and it has some 8-bit images, which have 256 colors. If we scroll down, there's also the palettes that are used for these images. And if I change them, I can see what it does to these images. In addition, 32-bit textures can also be added, although you won't find those in the game. After a texture is added, a material needs to be created in order to use it. So to do that, I need to make sure I have the correct image selected. I use the last image, so the last one. Then I need to go into the pass and make sure to select the location. And here is our clown. Now, I also want to use nearest filtering because it looks better. Materials can also have scroll applied to them. Also, materials can also have a second pass. This allows drawing it twice with different properties, like so. The world model can also be edited. To do that, we simply have to export it. Now it can be imported into Blender. You'll want to have merge vertices selected for this one. And here is Meridel. So let's add our clown. Since the material that I just added is not used, Blender did not import it, so I will have to add it myself. So I just take an existing one and I make a copy of it. It's important to make sure that the material index down here is correct. So if I look in the material that I just added, it is material 200. So material 200. In addition, just for previewing purposes, I can make sure to add that clown. You'll notice it shows up black. That's because these materials need vertex colors. Now that I have the clown, I could export the whole thing and import the entire mesh into the game. However, since I'm only adding new stuff, I can simply export only the stuff I added. So to do that, I have the clown selected, and I want to make sure to remember export settings, and it's important that custom properties are exported. And of course, I'm limiting myself to just this clown. Now, I can go ahead and import the clown. Since I'm only adding stuff, I'll want to use the merge import. And as you can see here, this is the clown with the two separate passes being rendered here. Let's test this in game. Now you could hit save and export an ISO file. However, that is tedious because it takes a while to save. So instead, let's use the dev server. The purpose of the dev server is, well, I need to have the game running first. But the purpose of the dev server is that it hooks reads to files and it redirects them to this tool. So let's test this. And here is our clown. Now because I'm using the dev server, I can go back here and I can actually change it. So for example, I could add some vertical scrolling to this. And of course, in order to see this reflected, I will have to reload the area. And now our base layer has some vertical scroll to it. Well, I hope this has been an informative look at modding this game. Please, try out the tool, make mods, and if you have any questions, there is a Discord where you can ask questions.